Soybeans were first domesticated in China 7,000 years ago. After America was settled, they were brought here as a forage for livestock. Following World War II, additional uses were discovered, and it became clear that either more soybeans were needed or better soybeans were needed.
In the 1930s and early 1940s, the average yield of the U.S. soybean crop at that time was somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 bushels per acre. Since that time, in the last 80 years or so, we have increased that average up to about 40 plus, 42, 43 bushels per acre. Now that's the average for the whole United States.
Dr. David Weaver has spent much of his career at Auburn University working to develop new soybean varieties that will produce more beans on fewer acres. Higher yields are critical today because soybeans are used extensively throughout the world.
Soybean comprises better than 50% of all vegetable oils produced in the world. All the other oils combined do not equal the amount of soybean oil produced. That oil is utilized in this country to make, for one thing, vegetable oil for frying, and it's also used in making margarine. It's used in making mayonnaise and salad dressings. Now we also use that oil and these oils in a lot of other products. In fact, you can hardly pick up a product in a grocery store that has a list of ingredients on it. Any type of processed product probably has got soybean in it somewhere.
The uses for soybeans are almost endless. In addition to food products, they're used in ink, candles, even fuel. That makes not only the bean, but the stem, the hulls, the leaves, all parts of the soybean important.
We don't throw anything away. Even in the field, the debris that's left over after harvesting is used as crop debris to protect the soil and to provide an environment there to protect from wind and water erosion, and to give competition to weeds and all this, the kind of things that you need in conservation tillage system nowadays. They use the whole part of everything.
One of the biggest breakthroughs in research, and the most controversial, involves genetic modification, where the plant's DNA is altered to make it more productive.
You know, when I came here in 1981 and you drive across the state, you see soybean fields and there are a lot of weeds in them. And it was hard to manage the weeds in soybean, even with the farmer's best effort. But now, you hardly ever see any weeds anymore. That means we're producing soybeans now and not weeds, generally simply due to the incorporation of a single gene that lets that plant tolerate application of Roundup, which will kill all the weeds.
Although some groups are calling for an end to the practice, farm groups say that reaction is emotional, that research shows there's nothing wrong with improving plants genetically.
We have had genetically modified soybeans grown in this country since the mid-1990s, and we've been doing this for about 10 years now. And we have just not seen any negatives.
Because of our improvements in production, Dr. Weaver says many Asian countries, including China, where soybeans originated, are importing most of their supply from the U.S. and South America. In Auburn, Alabama, this is Kevin Worthington for Time Well Spent.